All right, welcome to another episode of the Final Percent Podcast, and I have some announcements, and I am bringing on an incredibly gifted and just wonderful human being on, Cosimo. He is the founder of Genius in 21 Days. His book actually just came out January 11th. So I don't know if you're interested in being a genius in 21 days. You know, honestly, I've tried the whole be a genius in 37 years and it didn't work out. So that's why I wanted to, equip myself with people who can equip me to go to that next level. He's one of the people that just kind of came into my life, and he has this infectious personality. And it was we were speaking at an event together. He came up to me and it was so interesting because he goes, "Hey, do you have any feedback for me?" And I was like, "Man, you're like crushing it. You speak to thousands of people around the world and you're over here asking me how you can get better." I'm like, "Man, I want to ask you how I can get better." And that's where at the genesis of our relationship was out of, a huge admiration and respect for one another, how we operate, who we are. And then we just realized we have a love for family, a love for food, a love for traveling and helping people. So Cosimo, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. Just you're incredible, and I'm excited to interview you and talk about some of the things that we have going on, some of the things that you have going on, and where this world of personal growth is going. So thank you so much for joining me, man.
Oh, thank you. I was really looking forward to it. First of all, I mean, guys, I think my friend Greg, and oh my gosh, the energy and the passion that you have when you're speaking, when you are yourself every time, it's just contagious. And I couldn't not notice that. I wanted to feel like you every moment. I wish we worked together every day.
Yeah, no, I get so excited anytime I see you on the schedule, because it's just it's fun. It's fun to get into real collaborative thought. And I think a lot of people are either expected to always be the leader or always be the follower. So they always put themselves either on a pedestal, or they always are used to putting other people on a pedestal. And it's so fun to hang out with people where you feel supercharged around. You don't have this weird hierarchy or inequality. There's no such thing as a dumb question.
Yeah.
And we can get into what I think is human beings' competitive
Yes.
advantage, and that's collaborative thought, because there's so many just little tweaks where I've talked to you and you're like, "Have you thought about it this way?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't. How did you, That's amazing." And that's the big thing that I think people miss out on, because they're always trying to play a character, or they're playing
Yes.
who they think that other people think that they should be. And
Mhm.
it gets in their way of just being who they naturally are and getting supercharged by other energies and other thoughts. And the philosophy that you have about, the method and the approach to learning, so that people can take advantage of experiences and take advantage of seminars, take advantage of courses, take advantage of just operating through life, taking advantage of the books that they buy, taking advantage of this
Yes.
precious thing that we have called time, that is always moving. And being more efficient with your learning is one way to supercharge your life. And I remember in our last meeting, when you were kind of taking me through the methodology and the approach to learning, and I was just like, wow, that no pun intended, but I was like, wow, that's genius. So we do have an announcement. So the Final Percent, our first real retreat, is in Scottsdale, March 3rd and 4th. And
Woohoo.
and Cosimo is joining us. He
Woohoo.
and just so you know, guys, the way that we're doing this isn't like he's gonna come in and he'll speak for 30 minutes and then he's gone. It's like, no, he's there to get to know you. He's there to talk multiple times and do breakouts. And I know that his wife is coming. My wife, of course, will be there. And we're really trying to supercharge this by doubling down on the people who are there and creating those meaningful relationships, creating a community and creating real change so that
Magic.
we can actually go to the next level. It's not just this carpet bomb approach. And just so you know, I'm going to let people in behind the scenes a little bit. Marketing, they have this thing called carpet bomb. They will literally just throw ads everywhere and just kind of see what sticks. Newsflash, seminars do the same thing because everyone needs a little bit of a different, you're starting with a different mindset, different experiences, different age. You're starting at a different place in your life. So when people are speaking to this one-to-many approach where I'm talking like 10,000 people, that's a carpet bomb approach. It's just high level so that you can kind of go, oh, maybe that would work for me. And then you go deeper, you do this. Our retreats are about how can you really take actionable steps away from the relationships that you're building, not only with one another, but with us, but with Cosimo, with being able to connect with he and his organization and his wife so that when you understand, you're able to take it to the next level so that he can actually look at your business or you can have a specific question and say, okay, well, how would I do this? Because we get stuck in the how do I do this? How do I do that? How, the tyranny of the mind. How, now, just so you guys know, tyranny means oppressive government. How is the tyranny of the mind? So if you can get yourself out of the land of how and into the land of who, the community that you're building, the community that you're surrounding yourself with, and then the methods and the approach to learning. And, you know, Cosimo, I'm going to turn it over to you. If you can just kind of talk to people a little bit about some of the frameworks, a little bit about your story, a little bit about, you know, why did this path happen for you? And then talk a little bit about the experiences that you've had thus far, like traveling the world and the crazy things that you get to do over in Italy, and just you know, just let them know who you are.
I am so honored to do this, and oh my gosh, talking about the retreat that you were explaining, I really can't wait to connect with the essence of a person and really be with them and be with you. They are looking right now, they are watching this, listening to this right now, because we really are human and we just want to know who we really are and what we are bringing on the world. So now I will start with the story. It just came to my mind when you said story. When I was working with this company years and years ago, but when my company asked me, Cosimo, you're an instructor, right? Yes. Are you interested in opening America? I said, oh, certamente, una bella opportunità, perché no? È bellissimo parlare in inglese con gli americani. I did not speak English 5 years ago.
You didn't speak English 5 years ago? Okay, yeah, I didn't even know that. All right.
No way, you didn't know that?
No, this is great.
I knew no words. So it was like, I felt very, very, in fact, I felt very fear. So I would say I was scared, okay, to come here in the US. Because maybe, don't know this too, but I'm dyslexic. And for me, my brain was saying, oh, Cosimo, you never learned English in years and years of school. And now you want to go there. You're a national speaker here in Italy. Everyone knows you're speaking in major colleges. Why do you want to leave everything you have here and build something somewhere else? They don't know even how it's going to be. And you must stay here. That's the voice that I had in my head. And then in the other hand, I said, you know what? Yes, Cosimo, you are dyslexic. Yes, Cosimo, you never learned English in years and years of school. But now something that changes, it's that you have a method. And years ago, you didn't have it. And plus, I know you want to impact the world. Imagine what would it be for you if you can speak English? How many more people can you touch? And anyways, I packed, I took the first flight and I came to the US. And guess what? My company told me, Cosimo, there is a course in 4 weeks from now. They are going to hold. There are 20 people in the room, and you're the only one that can hold this. Are you kidding me? Do you know that I don't know anything about English? Oh my gosh, I was even more freaking out. Fortunately, they told me that when I took the flight, because otherwise I wouldn't have flew. And so, anyways, I learned 6,000 words in 2 weeks, plus the grammar rules.
Wow.
And I was able to hold my course after 4 weeks. I was here, and I made something that was basically not possible for me. And now I'm saying to you this story not because I want to brag or want to show off or whatever, but how many more things can you make possible in your life that in this moment it's just, do you think like it's not possible for you because you think you are not the right person, or you think you are not in the right moment, or you think you don't have the right tools right now? Well, a method gives you exactly those tools that bring out that confidence, and you can see things, you can start walking. Because I mean, for me, they told me to learn English when I was in school. It's like telling to a kid, oh, build a house with a screwdriver. I mean, it takes years, but I don't know if I can do it. But now I was an instructor. I had techniques that were customized on me, and I said, okay, I can do this. Finally, I did it. I didn't learn only English. I learned also Spanish, and now I speak 3 languages, which I don't want to. I don't want to know Chinese right now, because people ask me, why don't you do Chinese? Because it's not my interest right now. And if I want, give me a month, okay? So we'll see. And what I was saying,
if I want to know Chinese, give me a month.
Yeah. Oh, that's a funny story about a customer that I had. She is working with IBM, and they wanted to take the market also in China and Japanese, and she didn't know Japanese and Chinese. But thanks to us, she learned like 5 languages in 3 years. So, and she said, oh, give me a few months. Like, I think 3, I will be fine. In 3 months, she was speaking Chinese, and it was like freaking awesome. Wow. So it's as I said, it's not a course on languages, but you can use this for languages. Okay.
Yeah, and it's a method to learning.
Yes. So I came here, and the journey was awesome, because then when you put your heart in beyond your fears, the magic happens.
Yes.
And
whoa, hold on. When you put your heart beyond your fears, the magic happens. If you're listening to this podcast and you're driving right now, pull over and write that down. Text it to somebody who needs to hear that. If you put your heart beyond your fears, the magic happens. But wow, okay, I just want to make sure everyone realized what just happened right there. That's powerful.
Yes, because I mean, in years at school, I was labeled like, you can't do this, you can't retain this. Oh, dyslexic people, they are just dumb, they can't read. Well, it was right, because at some point I was 19. I think I read half book for pleasure, let's say that way. Then in school, I was just listening to what they were saying, and I was pretending I knew the things, and I was passing tests. And this game was not effective in college then, because in college you have months to retain things. But anyways, long story short, I accepted limits on myself that other people were giving me, and sometimes they were comfortable, but sometimes didn't let me really fly as much as I could, as high as I want. And then after I had a method, I said, does it really take a method? Yes. You're not too dumb, or you're not too limited to understand that it's a method that you just need. Everyone can really learn. Everyone can really retain, as long as they want piece of information. Everyone can really read and retain everything they want. I mean, it's like having a superpower. And that happens when really you start understanding that you are the most important person that creates life. So anyways, at some point I understood this lesson, and I said, okay, I want this course for me. And after I finished, I said, this is what I want to do. I want to see, there were like 150 people when I took my course. And I stood up, and I saw all of them changing their eyes for what they were able to do, thanks to the techniques. And I said to my instructor, I don't know, it's 3 days. It might be a very fast decision, but I want to do this job. How can I do this? we'll talk about this later. He told me. And when I was, so a few years from there, I opened my first location in one of the smallest city of Italy, where there were most farmers, and it was very challenging in that moment. But hey, I thought in that moment, this city loves me and I love this city. So not something has to happen. But you know what I learned very, very well? That in the moment, it's life or God or whatever you believe in that's giving you an opportunity to bring out what you didn't bring out until that moment. And so I brought up my professionality, I brought up my enthusiasm, I brought up my love for life. I brought up, and I remembered, and it reminded me so much who I was in that moment. Well, what happened a few months from there, I had the first person that came to the course. I did the course. I was used to do a course with 150 people. There were like just 3 people in front of me that day. And they said, this is magic. And so from there on, Cuneo, which was the small city in Italy, became the city where people were traveling in to have the course with me, and had courses with hundreds of people. It was awesome. So
wow.
That's what I said. When you put your fears when you put love behind your fears, when you throw your art behind your fears, things happens for you. You allow things to happen. And that's what I did for America. So, and now America brought me you, Greg, and many other fantastic people. But in this case, I've been looking, guys, you need to know this. Maybe no one knows this about me because you don't know me, but I was looking for Greg for so much time. The first time I met you, I remember I said, wow, you speak very well. And then I said, you know what? I want to do my best speech ever. And then in Italy, we are used to do this. We have instructors, and then after we finish the speech, we go back in the back end of the stage, and we ask them, how did it go? Do you have any feedback for me that I can learn right now? So next time it will be even better and better and better. I said, there is no one here that can give me a feedback, but he was very good in speaking. And his energy is contagious. He was so passionate about what he was talking about. Yes. So I went to him and I said, Greg, I know you don't know me. It sounds weird what I'm going to ask you, but can you give me a feedback? And he says, what? Sorry, feedback? So, yeah, feedback. So, something to improve. I don't know if there is any. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk. And we were talking. We spent hours together.
Yeah.
And then I recognized that you are my big brother, and I loved it. I loved it. So, if I didn't take the airplane, and if I didn't put my heart behind my fears, I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't have met you.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have had this wonderful relationship that we have.
I always say, coincidence is God's way of staying anonymous. So I really believe, we were brought together because one of the foundational principles in my company, the Final Percent, is, unfortunately in America, we have a very litigious society. So I've had my share of run-ins with lawyers. And you can always kind of tell where the person's business is based on, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I got to just reset my camera because for whatever reason,
it was a little bit frozen.
Yeah. Well, now I'm back.
Yay.
So I'm looking at, who people choose as lawyers, if you will. And if you get a single practice lawyer, it's usually they have single practice things. So it's this jack of all trades, this lawyer that is supposed to know intellectual property, is supposed to know estate planning, is supposed to know litigation, is supposed to know everything. And those are the people that I'm basically not scared of at all. If something happens in America and someone gives me a letter from one of those guys, I go, okay, well, this basically doesn't matter because I don't even view them as real lawyers. That might sound sad, but it's just true because it's impossible to just be an absolute master of everything, especially in law. And if I get something from a law firm, much different reaction on my part, because that means they have a team of lawyers and they have an expert in litigation, an expert in real estate, an expert in intellectual property, an expert in tax, an expert in every part of law. And it gave me the idea. I said, I need to have, instead of a coaching practice, I need to have a coaching firm. Because, well, yes, I'm well read. I have energy. I've coached for a long time. I love coaching people. I love helping people. I can't be all things to all people.
Yes.
So I'm going to serve my clients at the next level. I can't only become more. I need to bring other people in their own zone of genius into my orbit so that I can help people. And that was the big thing, you know. And I mean, I've partnered with over 10 coaches that help me serve my clients. And that was one of the things that I recognized in you, like instantly, because I was like, this guy has a different approach that, number one, I've never seen. And number two, he, like, no one realizes that we never get taught how to learn. Like we need to learn how to learn. And I just, when I was talking to you for the first time, I was like, and so I've done a lot of things through trial and error that you could have you could have compressed decades into days for me if I would have just met you. Like literally, if I could have met you like 10 years ago, you could have literally taken 10 years of my trial and error and like compressed it into at least a year, maybe even more. But this is the thing about coaches, because I didn't realize, because I'm dyslexic as well, I didn't realize how I needed to change my learning habits. I didn't know how I needed to change my application habits. And I didn't know what I didn't know. And I think that this is the important thing as personal growth, personal development is fundamentally changing. You're going to start identifying and seeing these coaching people who are actually serious about personal growth. And I'm not talking about the consumer side of things. I'm talking about the business side of things. I'm passionate about personal growth. So for instance, that means I want to go identify everybody who is better than me at things, and I either want to learn from them or I want them on my team. Because how long would it take me to learn absolutely everything that you know? I mean, granted, with your method, it's going to be faster, but it's way easier to just partner with you and say, guys, go talk to Cosimo. He can help you. And this is the big thing. This is why we have medical doctors. This is why we have product specialists. We have technology specialists, because there's so many things that people need to get coached on. And when they build that initial rapport with someone, especially with high-end one-on-one coaching, they start thinking of you as like this like weird priest thing where you just are like ordained by God and you just know everything. And I can't tell you how many times with my clients, they're like, well, what should I do with this, and this? I'm like, I have no idea. I literally have zero. I'll talk to some of my network. I'll talk to some of my friends. I'll try to get you into the best situation to succeed. But you don't want me giving you an answer for this because I'm not qualified. And I think that's another thing, is really identifying the difference between counseling and equipping and coaching. So a lot of people, when they come here, they think, oh, well, I'm going to hang out with people like Greg or people like Cosimo, and I'm going to go get into personal growth. And then they think that we're, licensed therapists. No. I'm not here to try to help you reconcile some interesting things that happened in your past. I'm going to try to maybe understand them so we can learn, so that we can equip you to go into the future. But I'm forward thinking, and I want to equip you, because we get too much in today's day and age. We get too much into consoling or counseling. And that's what happened with you. You got these labels and they're like, oh, Cosimo, it's okay. You're never going to know another language. It's okay. You're just dumb. It's okay. You're never going to go to America. You're never going to own a business. Just go milk some goats and do what you do, drink some wine, live off the land, but you are never going to go to the next level. And they would try to console you and counsel you into accepting that limit. And you're like, at some point you went, no, I'm gonna change. I'm
Yeah,
changing. And
I had enough.
that's the big thing, that being in the right community at the right time with the right information, as long as people can come with an open heart, an open mind, and a work ethic, you can change your stars. You can change your family generationally if you have an open heart, an open mind, and a work ethic. Those are the only three things that you need.
Yes.
You don't need millions of dollars. You don't need to know Bill Gates. You don't, like, literally, you were saying I opened my first office with mainly farmers and stuff around, and then hundreds of people started flying in so that they could get a glimpse at what was going on. How is this guy changing these people so fundamentally? And this is the thing. One of my good friends, George Bryant, he's probably the best customer journey specialist on planet Earth. I mean, I think he's taken 4 companies over $1 billion. And a lot of people don't know who he is, but you know, he was just at my summit and we had Sharon Lechter here. And I mean, this is the woman who helped Robert Kiyosaki write all 14 of his books and launch Rich Dad Poor Dad. Rich Dad Poor Dad was launched at her dining room table. And she watched George Bryant's speech and she said, this guy just gave you better information on customer journey than anyone I've ever seen on planet Earth. And this woman is in the Speakers Hall of Fame. And the reason I wanted to qualify who George Bryant is, because he said this really profound thing. And I want to tell everybody this, because this is why people should come to events. This is why people should get in the room. He said the results that people are getting is all anyone actually needs to know about you. And that's the thing. If you look at Cosimo, he's attracting a bunch of people into a little city in farmland, and then the company's saying, hey, go open the biggest economy in the world. He's getting results. You know, watching him remember like a 40-digit number or something that literally just random people yell numbers out of a crowd. And, you know, I remember when he did this, like, and just so you guys know, this is when I was just like, who is this guy? He really is, he has a superpower. The first speech I've ever seen Cosimo do, he remembers this, you know, like 40-digit number or something that's just like spit out by a bunch of random people. And I'm going, and then he asks people, because he writes it down and then he hides the number. And then he asks people, how long would it take you to remember that number? And, you know, just full disclosure, for me, never. I will never remember that number. It's just not going to happen unless I take this course or I understand the method, because my method is not going to get it done. And so I'm thinking, okay, it's like he's thrown out, not like it'd take 15 minutes to learn. It'd take 5 minutes to learn. It'd take an hour. All these people are throwing out different things. And so he goes, okay, cool, time me. He flips over the paper, and this is just everyone's throwing out numbers that he just wrote down. He opens it up, and then he's looking at it, stares at it, and then he has someone literally fold over the thing so he can't see it again. And he goes, how long did that take me? And it was like 7 seconds. He stared at this number for like 7 seconds. I'm like, okay, there's no way that just happened. But then he takes it a step further. Instead of telling the number right then, he goes on to talk for like another 10 or 15 minutes about how cool things are and how like neuroplasticity and how amazing the brain is and how all these things. I'm like, this dude forgot the number. There's no way we're gonna have to flip this. We have to flip this thing over. He's got to be able to look at the number. And then just randomly goes, okay, does everyone want me to say the number? And then I'm sitting here like incredulous. I'm telling you, I'm like, this is like, you might as well be David Blaine. I'm thinking a magic trick is happening. And I'm sitting here, I'm looking over here, and then he recites the number, and I'm like, oh my God, this guy is the absolute real deal. And then just as important, getting to know Cosimo behind the scenes, getting to know his wife, his daughter, the reason behind why he helps people, his passion for human beings, his love for life has helped me understand why I want to partner with him. And I'm actually very, very protective on who I put on my stages. And we were going to do kind of a one-off thing where it was like, hey, we're going to do this virtual event and we're going to this. And I just brought it to Cosimo. I said, why don't we like just make this our event? Come to Phoenix with me and let's just change people's lives. And let's just see what happens. And let's just go all in, 10 toes in, and let's go all in with each other. And he got just as excited as I. And so we were like, let's hop on a podcast and announce it. And this is where we're at. And I am really excited to work on you or work with you on, helping people. The other thing that we're going to be working on leading up to this is we're going to be launching our own course and we're going to, and we're really excited, and we're going to be able to launch it to everybody who comes and sees there. We're going to give them a month head start on hanging out with us, and we'll even do some behind the scenes on our and Q&A and thoughts on why we built this specific course to help people. But yeah, I honestly, I love you as a human. I love you as a friend, as a father, as a husband, and I'm really excited to see what's possible. And thank you for locking arms with me on this event, because I think that we are going to really, really change how people see retreats and the relationships and the connections that are made. Is there anything that you want to add, my friend?
Yeah, you said everything I wanted to say, but one thing I want to add it. When you said, I can't wait to see them seeing something different as a retreat, I really believe I want them to see themselves with different eyes.
Yes.
So I want them to come out from that retreat and feel like, wow, this now gives me the tools to do everything in my life that I want.
Yeah.
And that will change their lives, because we don't change people's lives. They will change their life with when they are open to receive what we accepted to receive in our life at some point.
Yeah.
So, and I hope we will be that catalyst, that like the moment for them, the breakthrough for them, the momentum for them to say, it's my time now. It's my time to be free in 2023.
Well, I love that. It's my time to be free in 2023. And that really is, a lot of people ask me, what do you do for a living, Greg? I tell them a lot, I just raise awareness. I raise awareness to what's possible. I raise awareness to, just connect some dots that are already there.
Exactly.
You just don't necessarily realize that certain things are possible. And I love the saying, everything was actually impossible until it wasn't. And, I'll end with this. The founders of Google were doing a Q&A with, I think it was Stanford, but it was, one of the big universities that's in the tech world. And they were doing a Q&A, and someone raised their hand and they said, what does it take to become Google? What does it take to become Google? Because I want to build a company like Google. And the founders responded with this phrase. And I think that this phrase is one of the most powerful phrases that any human being can walk by. Have a blatant disregard for the impossible. Yes. So if you've been labeled out there, if you've been labeled that you're dyslexic, if you've been labeled that you're quote unquote too dumb, if you've been labeled that you are never going to learn that other language, if you've been labeled that you're not an entrepreneur, that you're not a leader, that you're not a manager, that you're not a good husband, you're not a good wife, you're not a good mother, you're not a good father, you're not a good friend, you just haven't found the method, you haven't found the community, and it's time to raise your awareness of what's actually possible for your life. And that's why bringing somebody who is an absolute expert and a genius on being a genius is why I like partnering with people like this, because I'll tell you, when it's all of Cosimo's different sessions, I will be right in the audience with everyone else taking notes right alongside everyone else, because I'm just as excited to run the retreat, but also learn at the retreat from somebody that I deeply, deeply admire and respect. So thank you so much, Cosimo.
Thank you.
This is going to be so fun. So
Oh my gosh, I can't wait. I would start right now.
I know,
So...
right? Everyone just meet us there right now. All right. So March 3rd, if you want any information, go to thefinalpercent.com under events. We will be adding Cosimo's name so that you can get a little more information. Or if you want to go into our Facebook group, the Final Percent Network is the name of the Facebook group. We have all the events in there. You can RSVP and get more information as well. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Cosimo, and we will all see you soon.
Woohoo.
It's the final percent. The final percent.